Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Grasp Confidence Podcast. I'm your host, LaFon Gooch, and today I am interviewing my good friend and colleague, Dr. Harvey Castro, who is a professional speaker who uses AI to leverage talks. And specifically, he is a 5-time TEDx speaker. He's a multi-best-selling author. He's an international speaker. He speaks around the world all the time. And I wanted to bring him on this podcast again today. This is his second appearance to talk about how speakers, how entrepreneurs can use AI technology to leverage their businesses, leverage their speaking businesses, and transform success into the next level. Harvey, welcome to the show today, my friend.
So happy to see you. And I want to start by thanking you. You have a special place in my heart. You helped me get my first TEDx talk, and that means so much to me. And not to segue too far, but I got to share this story. So she heard that I was trying to get a TEDx, and she said, Harvey, here are 10 TEDx's that you should apply. And I literally dropped everything that weekend, and I said, I am going to do this. And oddly, on one of them, as soon as I hit send, I call it spiritual something in my heart. I was like, I got it. I got it. This one's mine. And it was such a conviction that I told my family, let's hold this week. I wouldn't take any talks that week. I told her, I said, hey, I know this sounds really weird, but I really think I got it. And I just applied. Fast forward 2 months later, I got an interview. They're like, you're in the top X of people, and we got to interview you. And if it goes well, you'll have it. And in my heart, I'm like, that's the one. Like, I knew this one is the one I'm going to get. So I just wanted to start with that. That was just so cool.
I love that. You know, it's funny because you said that to me in a text message. You said, I think it's this one. And remember what I said to you? I said, if you believe it's that one, mark it on your calendar and make sure you block off your calendar that day because you're going to be speaking on stage. And you did. You listened. So many people, they're like, oh, maybe I'll get it. And the self-doubt starts kicking in and they don't mark it on their calendar. But I think that's really important to do in like bringing it into reality, right?
Yep.
I love that. I love that. And you know what's interesting about your topic as well, Harvey? You know, we're living in this age of hyper technology. Things are changing at an unprecedented rate like never before in human history. There's a lot of speakers who claim to be TEDx or AI experts, right? There are tons of AI talks that are getting pushed, and not a lot are making it because it's all sounding the same. But what I like about your approach is you're blending medicine because you are a emergency medical physician, right? You're blending in the medical aspect with AI technology and speaking and thought leadership in a completely different way. And I think that's one of the reasons why your applications stand out so much. What do you think about that?
Yes. So what are the pillars of getting a TEDx talk? It is about the thought leadership, but my secret sauce that I tell people, it's not just leveraging who you are, it's leveraging how you see the world. Leverage your clinical gestalt in medicine, your personality, and then use that plus whatever vertical you're in and AI, and then put it together. And what have you created? And that's what I'm doing. I'm leveraging my MD. I'm an entrepreneur. I've started over 40 companies, so I put that in there. And then I know AI to the point where I can look at it and say, oh, wait, this widget just came out. What if we add the following to it? And I create a whole way of creating something brand new that no one has done before. And I was like, you know what? I will present this to TEDx. And then they look at it. They're like, I haven't seen anything like this at all. And because of your point, you're right. If a non-doctor were to try to get that same talk-ish, they would have a hard time because they don't have that medical license. And TEDx is very strong, or TED, about, hey, you got to make sure that you are a credible source for this.
Yes, that's so good. You know, I think a lot of speakers don't lean into their strengths enough. They pick things that they think will get accepted, or maybe they've seen another TED or TEDx talk that they really like, or they've read a couple of books and think they're an expert on something.
Yes.
But I think the most important thing, to your point, is that you have that proof of expertise, that you have a background that is indicative of the subject you want to speak on. It's about being that authority and showing up as that authority, not just having a great idea, but also having the proof to back it up, right?
Yeah, that's so funny. As you saying that in my head, I'm like, the proof is in the pudding. And
Proof is in
so
the
if
pudding.
you if you go into any of my social media and you just type in Harvey Castro, aka Dr. GPT, you'll see I have all this articles and how can we leverage and what can we do for humanity. And I'm constantly talking on podcasts, and I make sure not to repeat anything that I'm going to talk about for an application for TEDx. But when TEDx looks at my social media, they're like, wow, this guy's consistently has thought leadership and he's got the followers to prove it. And I think that is another pillar that I believe is helping me.
Yeah. You show a lot of thought leadership on your posts. Your content is very informative. You don't hold back. I think that's another level of expertise that we don't talk about enough, is that generosity of knowledge.
Yes.
Because anybody can have knowledge and be a gatekeeper, can't they? Right?
Yes. And I love you said that. That reminds me, when I was a medical student, it was so interesting. I was always that guy that was like, oh, wait, this is a better way of studying. Hey, I'll share this document. Hey, this is really good Cliff Notes that I just came up with. Here you go. And I could see some of my colleagues that were like, no, no, no. If I help you, then when we compete for that residency or we compete for that
Mm.
spot, you may beat me. And it was kind of like this jealousy thing. And I'm like, no, let's all help. Like, in my heart, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And me helping you is not going to impede me from succeeding because I am making my destiny.
Wow. Can we all adopt that attitude? I mean, wouldn't the world just be a better place if we all adopted that attitude of that generous giving of knowledge? And, I think about your first TEDx talk. I was fortunate enough to
Thank you
come
for
and
coming.
watch it live. Yeah, it was great. I was so proud. And, it was so fun to watch all of the faces in the audience, right? Because I had heard the talk before it went live. You and we had kind of bumped ideas off of each other at you practiced and that kind of thing. And then to see it live the day of, I felt like I had a little bit of an insider knowledge, right? And then I'm watching the people's faces around the audience, and you see the light bulbs happen in real time.
Mhm.
And if you didn't give that knowledge freely, you wouldn't be changing the world in the way that you are now. You wouldn't have the impact on the audiences that you have. And this is how you get repeatable speaking business. This is how and why people continue to hire you for the roles that they do and why you're so successful. I mean, you're a chief AI officer at Phantom Space. You have worked with the Singapore government with AI. You're the top, I would say, echelon of AI knowledge in this globe, truly. And it didn't start by hoarding knowledge or gatekeeping. It was really that generosity of giving the knowledge freely and being a transformational person that instills this knowledge into other people. And that's why people trust you, right?
Mhm. Thank you for your kind words. I always say, do your intentions with that right heart in mind.
Yeah.
I'll give you a real example. In the year 2022, I wrote the first book, How Do We Use ChatGPT in Healthcare? And it had just came out. And within 3 weeks, I had published a book. And I didn't do it for money. I didn't do it to be labeled anything or at all. I did it as a public service announcement. How can I help my patients? How can I help my doctors? Let's push it out to the world. But never in 100 years did I think this book would go viral, that this book would eventually get me in front of the Ministry of Health, in front of the Texas Medical Association. Like, all of these things happened because I had a servant heart and I didn't think this was a money thing. I didn't think anything. I said, no, this give to the world. And all of this came back.
I love that. And you were a co-author in our book, Talk Your Way to the Top. And I love what you said as part of your chapter that you wrote in. We're talking about embracing AI technology as a cutting edge technology and how we can actually use that as speakers. And one of the things that you talked about in the book is Speaker Plus AI, which is something I've actually used and really I love it. It's so good. It gave me such good feedback. Do you remember when I first
Yes.
used it?
Yes, I do remember. And
I
thank you for
loved it. Oh my gosh. Let's talk about Speaker Plus AI so that everybody can learn more about this tool.
yeah. So obviously we all need humans in the loop. We need people like you to help coach, but you may not be available at X time. And I thought my favorite phrase is we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And even if I have a human in the loop, having you look at me, you may have gotten a text, your brain may be somewhere else. I may have said something you're still processing. And as a result, you may miss something. Not that you meant to, it's just you're human. I thought, what if I could take an AI to analyze my micro expressions and extract all of my information of speaking, of what I think a good speaker should be, down to voice prosody, pauses. And what if I put all of that into an AI and then take a video of that person and then analyze all of it and then turn around and give you about a page report? And I know it could be overwhelming for a beginner, but at least it's the blueprint to say, you know what? Here's what the AI is catching. Here's what all this experience is saying. And now I really need to work on the following. And it
Mm.
really has helped improve my game. It really has. I go back and look at old videos and I was like, wow, I thought I was good. I really thought I was really good. And I was like, wow. And I got compliments on that video. And looking back, I'm like, whoa, that wasn't that good.
Well, that's nice to hear that even you have the moments like that, right? That it's about starting somewhere, and we all start somewhere, and I think that a messy start is fine. I think that's how most starts are. They're always going to be a little messy. There's a saying out there that if you're not embarrassed by your first product launch, you launched too late.
Yes,
I
that's
think
true.
the same truth is in speaking, right? Your first talk should be a little embarrassing because if it's not, you probably tried to over perfect it and you launched way too late instead of making the impact that you could have had.
Mhm.
When I used Speaker Plus AI, I put a TV interview that I had done into it just to kind of analyze it, right? And it was interesting. It gave me such good feedback. I was like, what is this? How did you come up with this, Harvey? Right.
Yeah.
And it was talking about my tonality. It was talking about my expressions, my physical expressions. And it was giving me areas of improvement on physical expressions, which I was not expecting, and areas of tonality that I could improve on. And
Mm,
I thought that was really interesting. So,
yeah.
for speakers, this is something that can come really in handy, especially if, going back to TEDx, if somebody is preparing for a TEDx talk, they can actually take the video of them practicing their talk, upload it to YouTube, and then insert the YouTube URL into Speaker Plus AI and get this feedback, right?
Mhm. Yeah, it's crazy. It really is crazy. And it's funny for my TEDx, I've used my own tool to help me. And my favorite phrase is we don't know what we don't know. And that's why it's so important to have somebody in the loop to help you see. Because in our mind, I know I do this sometimes as a doctor. I'll think I said it and I thought I said it at a very interesting level, sixth grade level, that's just basic. But then I look at it and I'm like, wait, I guess I didn't. In my head I did, but what I came out didn't.
And I love the fact that you brought, up the sixth grade level, right? I think that's important too, because so many physicians don't know how to bring it down. They talk
Yes.
about the highbrow science. They talk about all the intricacies of different things. And they might not know how to bring something down into a simple manner. But that's actually really important for TED and TEDx talks, because what people don't think about sometimes or realize is that it goes on YouTube, which is a global platform, and anybody can watch it. So we don't really know who that might be. It might be somebody who's in high school or college, or somebody that's in a different profession who's hearing this information from the first time, that doesn't understand it, that needs that like more basic approach that is not overly jargoned and complicated, right?
Yeah. And then that's another plugin just in general, not my tool, but just AI. If you can have the AI just help you with some of these things. My favorite phrase is, let's work backwards. If there's certain things that you want to come out of your TED Talk, then let's put it into AI and say, how can I best word it? How can I best show it? How can I best feel it? So that when the AI is coaching you or giving you tips in the transcript itself, you are already putting that process into every word, every noun, every adjective, so that every moment is now that much better.
I love that. For speakers who, a lot of people come up to me and say, this is my goal, Tara, this is something I want to do, right? This is a dream of mine. What would you say to people who this is a dream of theirs to do? It's a dream of theirs to do a TEDx talk. What is one good piece of advice that you have for somebody like that?
Like I said earlier, have the end in mind. What is that goal? What is that passion? What is that message? And then work backwards. And then look at it from 10,000 feet. In order for me to be credible, is my social media, my ethos present? Do I have the backup to say I can say X? Do I have a book on the subject? Do I, and not that I'm telling everybody to write a book, but do I have a book? Can I show it? Do I have thought leadership? And do I have a presence that is consistent with that message? Second, do I believe it? Am I passionate? Am I authentic enough? Or is it a topic that I'm not really that passionate about? Because if you're not passionate about it, you're not going to show it. You're not going to be exuding that enthusiasm. And in the day of AI, when there's so many robots, there's so many deepfakes, that authenticity is worth even more.
100% agree. I'm so glad you brought that up, because even though we are going into this age of technological evolution to where it's unprecedented, and what looked like AI 2 years ago looks nothing like what it is right now, and what's 2 years from now is going to look completely different. At the end of the day, it's the authenticity of the human being. And that's something that can't be replicated. It can't be duplicated. So I would echo that. I encourage every single person listening to this to, take a good look. Take a good look at their authentic approach on social media. What kind of, content are you producing? Are you talking about the subject that you want to talk about on stage? And if not, take a look, ask yourself some questions, right? Is your brand showing up the way you want it to? Are you showing up? Right? Are you even showing up? I think that's important. And that's why one of the first things I typically do with people is just a brand audit. Does your website, your content, your social media presence, does it sync up? And I think this is really helpful, right? What do you think, Harvey?
Well, again, we didn't plan this, but I remember when your husband looked at my website, and it was a good tap on the back when he was like, "Hey, Harvey, I actually like XYZ, and you're really executing here, and you're really doing this." And the reason it was successful is because I've had so many prior businesses that I was able to leverage all the content of literally a decade of me being on TV, me being on podcasts, me showing different images, and me being, I was lucky that I had the foresight of being the marketing. We had a marketing company, and I was a lot of the images and the actors and whatnot. And so when it was time to make the website, I literally said, well, here are all the assets. go make the website. And they did.
Yeah. And I think it's important too that, just having like a second set of eyeballs on anything. One of the things I say to everybody is we just can't see the holes in our own ship, right? And it's important to have that kind of outsider perspective of, okay, this is my goal. Here's where I want to be. How can I get here? And just having somebody just give you a high level overview of just the little nitty gritties, right? Because it could be something simple that we're just not seeing that can help us go to that next level. And, your progress has just been awe inspiring to see that within 12 months, 12 short months, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 TEDx talks. I'm just blown away. For the average speaker, I would say I don't recommend it, but you're not the average speaker, are you? You're a couple echelons above average, right?
Well, I appreciate that. I do. And I want to like explain why.
Yes.
It wasn't, again, for media press. It wasn't for money. It really wasn't. It was, how can I serve humanity?
Yes.
What can I use in this stage to promote my thoughts? And here's the part that I don't talk about often enough. I literally leveraged AI to help me speak, help me practice, help me. I didn't say, hey, AI, give me a speech. I said, here's my thoughts. Here's how I see it. Here's a book. And here's the structure. Now help me optimize so that when I speak, it really focuses, again, my favorite phrase, working backwards. And then it's helping me optimize it. The hard part, and I don't recommend this for anyone, is at one point I was doing a TEDx talk every 3 weeks, and that was murder because I had to memorize a talk, I had to come up with different talks, and then I had to execute it and then rinse and repeat. And that was so hard. I will not do that to myself again. That was so much stress. But if we don't stress ourselves, we don't become better. I'll say it again. If we don't stress ourselves, we do not become better. And by that, now I can look at a PowerPoint. Now I can see something and just go.
It made you a better speaker.
It did.
It did.
It really.
It did. It makes, and that's why I like this platform so much as well. It makes you a better speaker. If you can take your life's long knowledge and distill it into an 18-minute or less speech, not only does it make you a better speaker, it makes you a better thought leader. It really elevates you to that industry standard and makes you shine above the noise, right? So I told you before the show started that I have a TEDx talk coming up in June. I know I said I was never going to do another one, but I have another one. I'm doing it. It's 6 minutes. 6 minutes.
Oh.
You know what? That was actually harder to write.
Yes.
But I like it. I actually like this talk so much more than my first one because it's snappy, it's concise, it's straight to the point. There's no fluff whatsoever because there can't be fluff, right? It's exactly what it should be. It's so distilled. And I actually like it. It was a really cool, interesting challenge, but I think this one is going to make me even a better speaker. So I think it's about continuous improvement and refinement and always putting yourself under some healthy stress to get better, right?
Now I'm going to ask the reverse. I'm going to ask you to pitch it to me and let me give you feedback.
Ooh, what you want me to pitch you my talk?
Yeah, later. I want you to, let's have a session and say, hey, Harvey, here's my talk, and then let me see it. And if you can, put yourself on a stage or standing so I can see your mannerism and your hand motion and how you're using functional movement in your talk. And I'd love to give you my 2 cents.
I would absolutely love feedback from you. It's about forgiveness. It's gonna be a really good one. Yeah, it's
I already got chills. I literally just got chills. I cannot wait to hear it.
Did you? Oh my gosh. So my book coming up, I have a book that's going to be publishing in 2026, and this is based on the last chapter of my upcoming book, and it brings it all together, the whole story. And it kind of intertwines the first talk and then this talk. You know, the first talk for me was gratitude, the foundation of confidence, and my story. And this talk is the full circle. And it's so cool, right? I'm just excited.
Yes.
Forgiveness. Yeah, it's going to be great.
My
Anyway.
OCD brain, I'm going to say, look at your wardrobe and see if you can bring something, the same shoes, something to like complete the circle.
Ooh, I like that. See, this is why we get along. You think of the things that I don't think of. Love that. Well, so great, Harvey, talking to you again today and catching up again. I am just so happy for you. I think this is just the beginning, you know? Again, it's so easy to look at you right now and say, wow, where could he possibly go from here? I only see this as the start. I think you have so much more ahead of you. It's really whatever you want it to be at this point, because honestly, the world is truly your oyster, my friend. There's nothing stopping you.
Well, I appreciate it. And I want to tell everybody out there, be humble, be gracious, push yourself. If you don't push yourself, you're going to stay in the same place. So really push yourself.
Yeah.
And that's how we all grow. And I know this sounds odd to say, but when critics that are your friends or not tell you anything, do not react. Take a second, take it in, and see if you can improve somehow.
That takes a lot of humility. But again, the world would be a better place if we stopped, paused, reflected, and took a notice.
Yes.
Because there's always something to improve upon. And as professionals, as consummate professionals, as speakers, this is how we get better. This is how more influence is created and more impact is made. So thank you so much, Harvey, for joining us again today. And thank you so much for everyone who tuned in to this episode of Grasp Confidence Podcast. Guys, don't forget to follow, share, because this will help somebody else get to their goals next year and beyond. So share this episode with your audiences and leave a review on Apple, so that you can create the impact for more people. Because the more reviews we have, the more new friends we find out there and listeners. We will catch you on the next episode. Take care.